Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to West Virginia Astronomy. Jonathan here, and typically the best time to photograph or view the Milky Way is during what we call Milky Way season. And what that is, that's just the time of the year when it's the best time to really view the Milky Way throughout the night. And that's usually around February, March to around mid-October, and between around 12 a.m. and 5 a.m. And that will vary depending on your latitude, the moon phase, and things like that. And me being from West Virginia, Eastern Standard Time, and 37-degree latitude, that means that I'm pretty much in peak Milky Way season right now. So I figured this would be a good time to kind of throw together this video. I remember when I was first getting into astrophotography, it's one of the first things that got me into this hobby. Was I was just out playing around with my camera and accidentally captured some of the Milky Way in one of my photos, and I was just blown away, and I'll never forget that feeling, you know. And hopefully this video will kind of help you capture that feeling, and you know, you can kind of plan your shot a little better than I did. And this is just one of the ways that, you know, I found that's pretty straightforward and basic, and I think pretty much someone starting this hobby could figure it out. So I'll show you the basics of what to do and what I do to kind of get a real quick composite. And yeah, so we'll jump right into it. The most important thing in photographing the Milky Way is choosing a foreground that is facing south or southeast. That way at least you know the Milky Way is going to be somewhere in the sky above whatever you're shooting. I wanted to keep this video pretty simple and basic, so I've decided to shoot something in my neighbor's hayfield here. And all I'm doing now is just taking a few test shots during the day to try and find a decent composition. And here's a shot of the neighbor's barn with the tractor here, and I really like this shot, but the Milky Way is just not in the right spot, so I decided to shoot this hay bale here, and it seems to be at the best angle for where I think the Milky Way will be when it gets dark. And just to be sure on the best time to take my shots, I always check my PhotoPills app. If you haven't heard of PhotoPills, it's an app you can purchase that can be used to show you exactly where the Milky Way is for your location, and I'll put a link in the description for anyone interested in checking that out. So it's telling me around 12:30 a.m. the Milky Way will be right where I need it to be. Alright guys, we're set up. The Milky Way is right here behind this bale of hay. I'm using the Sony A7R Mark II, and I'm using the Iris 45mm lens, and I'm going to shoot this hay bale here. I'm going to focus on the foreground first, and I'm going to take probably a 2-minute exposure of the foreground, and then we'll focus on the sky, and then we'll get our sky shots. Usually during a foreground shot, I like to do some basic light painting, and what that is, you just take a flashlight here and you kind of shine it on your foreground to kind of light some of the features, and that way you don't just have a black silhouette image of the sky. And here I'm doing some basic light painting here, and when I actually shot my sky exposures, if you actually take your camera and you move it just above whatever you're shooting here, and that's how we'll shoot our sky shots. And here's a shot of the sky right above the hay bale, and we'll use this shot to blend back in with our foreground, and it's just going to save us a lot of time during the blending process and all that. So we'll jump on the computer now, and I'll kind of show you guys what all I captured and what foreground shots and the total sky shots that I shot. Alright guys, here we are on the computer. I have Photoshop opened here, and here is my foreground shot that I captured, and this is at 45mm, f1.4, ISO 800, and it was a 60-second exposure. And here is the sky that I captured. Now this was in This was in portrait orientation, and this is landscape orientation. That's the only thing I changed. I just moved the camera right above the hay bale and I turned it to landscape orientation just to have more room to work with here. And I kind of wanted to capture these stars here. There was a cloud coming in that just looked really nice here. And so all I've done to this image here is, you can see here, this is what it looked like straight out of the camera. And if you zoom in, you can see a little bit of star trails. It's probably more that I was at 1.4. If I actually meant to stop the lens up a little bit to 2.8 or something like that, but I think it worked out pretty good. And you can see all I've done, I opened it through Camera Raw, and I did a threshold layer here, and I put a color sampler so I could adjust the background levels back down to 19 or as close to that as I could get. And I flattened the image, took it into Camera Raw again, and I just brightened it up just a little bit, and that's where I'm at now. So with this foreground, all I've done, here it was starting out. I opened it through Camera Raw, I changed it to a 16-bit channel, I flattened the image, I made a copy, and then all I did was brighten the shadows and some of the blacks in Camera Raw filter, and that's where we're at now. So what I can actually do, instead of cutting all these trees out and trying to blend this in with this picture, all I'm gonna do here, this is really simple, and that's why I wanted to put this video out, because this can be a really powerful tool for astrophotography, and I kind of want to get some feedback and see what you guys think about this. So if we go over here to our foreground shot and we go up here to edit, there's an option here to do sky replacement, and if we click on that, you can actually save your sky image, and then you can add it into the sky replacement directory. That way you can choose your sky out of this directory, and it will place it right in the background. It will blend it in for you and do everything you need it to do with just a few sliders. And I found this way to be really powerful and really cool, because I didn't do a lot of nightscape imaging because of that. It was just really hard for me to blend my tree line and stuff like that back in. So you can see there's our picture saved up here. If you click this arrow here, you can actually make folders up here, and that's what I've done here. I've made a Milky Way folder, and I save all my sky images. I save right here. You can add a sky. So I saved my sky photo, and I came back in here. I'm not going to do it again. I found it in here, and I clicked OK, and it adds it in here along with all these other ones. And it even gives you the option here. You can come over here, and the reason why I shot it in landscape orientation, like I said, so I could have some room to move around. And you can see here, if we zoom in, it just places that sky right behind your foreground. It's really quite amazing. I mean, you can see how that works there, and it's really cool. It takes all that work out of having to blend that back in. So I just thought it was a really neat thing, and you can see how powerful this can be for astrophotography. And I think if you stay true and you don't try to fool people into producing images that could never be seen like that in real life, I think it's a fair thing to use. And I've been using it recently on all my nightscape shots, and I'm really happy with it, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move this and you have these sliders over here. You can actually shift the edge because naturally there is a sky glow right against the horizon. If you ever take a picture of the sky, you'll notice that there's always going to be this ambient light from the horizon, and so we want to try to keep that in there. So I'm just going to fade this edge out just a tad. Pretty good. And you can even fade this in so you can make it more darker there. I mean, that just doesn't look natural in my opinion, so we can just fade that all the way over. And then you can even do lighting adjustments here to get it to look lighter down there. Click OK. And there you go. You can actually turn on and off these layers over here, and you can see, I mean, it's a little over more to, I did shift it to the left a little bit, but in my defense, I did shoot the sky shots first, and then it was a little bit, you know, a little time had passed, you know, before I shot the foreground, so it had time to move a little bit. So that, in my opinion, looks better than anything I've ever tried to blend together. So you can turn this off too, and you can see everything we did. All those adjustments we made, it actually pastes them down here as different layers, so you can turn them on and off. You can adjust the opacity, but I just thought that was really cool. And yeah, this makes nightscape imaging a lot more exciting for me now. And if you guys like this video, maybe consider subscribing to the channel and giving me a thumbs up. It really helps me to keep creating these videos. And yeah, I mean, I just really think this is a powerful tool. And I don't know, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and until next time guys, clear skies.